We'll get into a little bit of really positive news. So we've been talking about how much energy that these new data centers, these new GPUs are going to continue to be using. And NVIDIA, they're looking to get back into Japan. A lot of these companies are, especially where these nuclear reactors are. Now, Japan, right, some of the latest news here, there it is. So they're actually going to be restarting unit number 2 this December. They're loading fuel actually into the reactors now. This is the first time in literally 17 years. Okay. Also, they've got the Daiichi nuclear power plant to start the sludge treatment 2 years later than expected due to their review of the earthquake resistance design. So a lot of these things overseas, you don't always necessarily hear about it. We talk about it here. These restarts, Japan's reactors, there are a ton of reactors that have already started to restart. 12 of them are already back up. People thought that they were going to disband nuclear totally. Now there's 33 operable reactors in Japan. And this list is not showing as it says from Bloomberg, the restarts is what they're talking about, not under construction, not including reactors that are planned or undergoing maintenance. Okay. That's going to be this chart here that we're going to be planned. So there's other reactors planned, and a lot of the ones that are still just sitting there idle, you're going to start to see these companies, especially, AI, they're going to be coming over and looking to utilize that, because Japan, in my opinion, is one of the best countries in the world. I love it. I went there this year again, and they understand nuclear energy, even though they're passed out of everyone from not just the energy side with the disaster at Fukushima, but World War II, they're still big supporters of nuclear energy. And a lot of the people are starting to understand, and that this could have been prevented. Fukushima could have been prevented. And now they're literally restarting these, and they are building them up so they don't have that issue anymore, right? So this is something that people didn't really price in. The nuclear energy renaissance, the uranium, bull run. A lot of people weren't expecting all of these to start to potentially come up. And nobody was really talking about the fact that these GPUs, NVIDIA, companies with AI, were going to take up most of the world's current power and all the future power that was expected to be needed. They're already projecting out. It's unbelievable the amount that they're going to need. Because when GPUs, they get better, they compute more, they use more energy though. Right? It's like horsepower in vehicles. Most of the vehicles, gas powered, right? When they have more horsepower, they're going to be using a lot more fuel most of the time, especially the ones that can push 2,000 plus, right? On the drag strip. These things are very, very high powered. And that's kind of what nuclear energy is like. You need, in these GPUs, when they can compute that much, they need lots of baseload power. They can't run it on solar, can't run it on wind. They can't run it off backup power. It's got to be, and literally some of these, they're going to be needing, a reactor just for a plant itself, small modular reactor a lot of times. And that's kind of what's going on. That's what we've seen, this big scramble going on. That's why Lightbridge, even a speculative stock, still a small market cap, is up 21% again today, right? And this thing has moved so fast. This thing was at $2 back September 3rd, right? It got to its another low. It's up 330%. Oklo, another one, 13%. This chart is this is big money coming into, and this is one that, a lot of these small new scale, they're still a long ways out, right? They're not bringing these plants up today. But yeah, Joe, as far as PayPal, I haven't been talking about PayPal for 2 years. It might seem like 2 years, but we started talking about PayPal on the drop to the 50s, right? And that was in around June. So it's not even quite, just this summer was 1 year, right? So yeah, I never made a video on the stock. Like a lot of the big tech stocks in 2021, when they were hitting their peaks, if you're on YouTube and you were talking about them, you could potentially have 100,000 subscribers. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to, because I was calling for a market crash. Like, go watch the videos, go look in October 2021. And even uranium, we had this uranium bull market start, but I sold everything and said, you know what, the market's getting very, very, and I think I made a video about a 2.0 crash and talking about Michael J. Burry, and it happened. Now, you know, a lot of people thought maybe last year this was going to happen with AI. I think it's a bubble, but I don't think it's a bubble. Okay. These companies people are paying for these GPUs, even if they're kind of front loaded, you know, with NVIDIA. But the other thing is people are starting to front load these stocks, right? And there will be a pullback. I expect 50%. I mean, especially after runs like this, I expect 50% pullbacks easily, right? Very, very fast, like almost 1,000% run, you know, in a very short amount of time. These things are going to pull back 50 plus percent. So be prepared for a rip your face off move. But, you know, just the entire sector, you know, for the most part, a lot of these stocks are still going parabolic. But yeah, guys, be careful. Got to do your own research on this. But it is nice to finally see our thesis play out. But it's not over. 50% pullbacks, there's going to be a lot of opportunities. A lot of speculation came in. This thing's ran way higher. Where 2021, we've seen a lot of the uranium stocks run up and stocks related to nuclear energy. And a lot of them haven't got back to that yet, right? Because this is still speculative. A lot of this stuff is still very speculative. These companies won't be bringing in money, right? They're not bringing in free cash flow. They get, like, a company like this gets grants and stuff from the government, but these companies will not, but they run up 1,000% very quickly. If we talked about all of the positive nuclear energy stocks right now, the news, which we cover like in the Discord. I've added a bunch of new stuff over in the Discord for nuclear energy specific channels. So this is like going to bring up any news from like around the world. Just it's constant. It's on a constant flow from your biggest companies, $1 trillion companies, obviously investing, to just individual stock news for each of these that we're covering. So this is something that you know, that's why we track in some of these stocks potentially, you know, as things kind of cool down. But are they going to cool down? That's the thing. Are they going to cool down? Because a lot of these are still very, very small companies. And there's still the fact that we don't even know we don't know specifically right now who all's coming into this. When we start to see filings and stuff come in after this real parabolic move, we'll start to know kind of like who's buying, if there's, you know, billionaire hedge funds coming in, if there's literally activists, investors coming into these companies, new ones, then yeah, it might not have as big of a pullback. But I think if you've followed this sector, there's always mega pullbacks. We've said it in so many videos. So I expect, like Centrus Energy, I expect it to get back to probably support here, probably in the 50s. And I definitely will be buying again, but I'm not buying right now. I'm not buying anything right now, right? So yeah, what else, guys? Thoughts on selling some of these speculative nuclear stocks before the pullback? Jim, you said, and then jumping back in when it starts moving up or going long. Yeah, that's one of my bread and butters. Is I like to swing trade these type of moves. End up getting up to, I think, 10,000 shares of Centrus Energy, which when was March of 2020. So in here, right in the force, I kept those as a long-term investor. It would have been phenomenal, right? But during this time, and I was swing trading it during this time. I mean, it pulled back, like this stock already almost pulled back 80% in a fairly short amount of time, right? So these things have happened multiple times after, not as much as that peak in 2021 when it started to get, the uranium sector started to get that news phase where mainstream media was talking about it like it is now. But and then the market overall was also, you had a lot more retail in just coming in and looking into things like this. But yeah, we haven't really seen that happen until now, right? Again, like this is a whole new thing. So saying that I'm going to be able to, like, you know, time this and swing it right, it's a lot rougher to do than, you know, because these things can move fast and they can continue to go up. You know, the charts here can get very bullish. You got also traders coming in, right? That they like to trade into strength. So I think that on a pullback, then definitely I'm going to be buying up more, but I'm not buying anything like today. Although, like I said, this could run up even more every single day, but it is nice to see this play out. A lot of times they're not going to, that's the thing when you try to trade these, it's real rough because the technicals don't always track. It's usually fundamental news based. All of these, you know, gap up spikes, is not just traded on technicals. This was a Russian uranium ban, potential ban. That's fundamental news, right? This would not tell you that it would be going up, right? This drop from here to here is bad on the technicals. No one would know. You have to know fundamentals, and you have to know how these things work in Washington, and we did. That's why this move was phenomenal. So, and congrats you guys. The nuclear energy thesis is starting to play out. The PayPal thesis is starting to play out. See you guys tomorrow.